Welcome to another reading. Today, we are diving into something that you are reluctant to do or deal with. What's that thing where you're just like, I don't want to? Whether that is something you've been procrastinating, work you don't want to do, something you don't want to face in a relationship, or anything else you just plain don't want to do and are putting off. We are going to try to find some answers about that for you. Okay, I randomly drew a card from each of these decks to help you choose your reading. So let's take a look now at your options so you can decide. For group 1, we have Hematite. We are using the Golden Thread Tarot, and your card is the Four of Wands. For group 2, we have Azurite. We are using the Ethereal Visions Tarot Luna Edition. And your card is the Chariot. For group 3, we have Aqua Aura Quartz. We are using the Modern Witch Tarot. And your card is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, the timestamps are always in the description box below. I am going to get started now, so meet me in your reading when you're ready. Hi, group 1. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Hematite and this Four of Wands from the Golden Thread Tarot. We're looking at what you don't want to do, what you are putting off or what you're reluctant about. We're going to start by seeing what that might be and if that thing is even meant for you. And based on that, we will dive deeper to try to help you with this. I did already shuffle these cards, so we'll get right into it. But as I was preparing for your reading, I had a lot of anxiety come in, annoyance, anger, frustration, energy, also a lot of doubt, like you're doubting yourself. And it felt like things have not been going right, or they're going too slow, or they're not what you anticipated they would be. It did feel like it might be around like work, school, creative projects, that kind of thing. And we did have the Four of Wands. So that is Wands energy as well. But it just feels like there is a good amount of like doubting yourself or things not moving along the way you want them to be. So I wonder if what you are maybe procrastinating is like moving forward on whatever this is because it hasn't been that easy and things maybe keep going wrong. And there's like, I heard there are too many moving pieces. So maybe there's just more to it than you expected or more to it than you really want to deal with. And so it might just feel like it's not simple and fun, whatever it is, because there's too much to it. So let's get a little bit more information. What is group 1 reluctant to do? Okay, we have the Seven of Wands. Let's get one more. And the Moon. So with more Wands energy here, again, I'm thinking that what you are dealing with is something related to work or school or creative projects. Maybe something that you're putting out into the world. And it does feel like there is some anxiety energy here with the Moon, or some emotions that are coming up as you try to accomplish this, or you try to make steps forward. It also feels like there are so many steps, and it's like maybe you have like 2 that are like defined and figured out, but then you have all these other ones you're still working on. It's like it may even be not the project itself, but just a lot of the steps that go along with it. And that it feels like there are still some unknowns here as well with the Moon. And so again, that's giving me energy of like having figured some of it out, but some of it you do not have figured out. And so there's some frustration around that and around the unknown and not fully like either knowing all that is going to be encompassed in this project or whatever, or just you feel like behind other people, or that you thought you knew what you were doing, and now you're wondering if you really did know what you were doing. It does feel like there are some subconscious and unconscious things kind of coming up to the surface and sort of like preventing you from clearly making steps forward. And it feels like with the Seven of Wands too, that there is some resistance here, which is unsurprising if you're procrastinating or you have reluctance. But it just feels like, with this shield and these arrows coming toward it, it's just like, I don't want to. Like, I do not want to. I don't want to deal with all of this. And I wonder if with the moon, whatever it is that you're doing does have an element of intuition associated with it. Like, you may be like reluctant to even trust your gut on what the next step is or how much of it you need to do or any part of the process. Or it could be that this is actually like, like me reading tarot right now, this has an intuitive element to it. So you could be doing something like that. But it definitely seems to be something you're either trying to put forth into the world in some way, or something at your place of work, or like I said, it could be school related, or even just you're taking classes and like maybe learning how to do something new, but you've reached kind of like a stopping point because you don't really know how to move forward, or you don't understand the next step, or you feel like stupid, or you even feel just like resistant because it's like maybe not the way that you want to do it, and you're being told you have to do it a certain way. Like if this is an assignment in school, maybe you are like an art student and you want to create this thing the way that you want to, but you're being told to do it in a specific way. And so that's making you resistant. But somehow what it is that you are reluctant to do seems to revolve around work, school, or projects. And there does seem to be an intuitive element here, but also a feeling of anxiety. So I think that we'll probably end up digging into your fears or your beliefs a little bit more, but let's see if this thing is even meant for you, because that's going to tell us where we go from here. So is this thing meant for you? Are you meant to continue to move toward it, take a break, or move away from it? The Fool. Okay, and the Six of Swords. Well, interesting. Well, we have new beginning energy, but then we also have what is usually movement away from something towards something else. So we definitely have movement here. So I don't think that you're meant to just sort of stay in like procrastination or take a break from this. There's definitely movement. And so, I wanted to say when I pulled the Six of Swords that we're moving away from this, because usually the Six of Swords is going this way. We'd be moving away from this project. But I'm not getting that feeling. And so also when I look at this card, while you could say it looks like it's moving that way, I actually feel like it's moving this way, because normally on the Six of Swords, this one doesn't have it, but normally you will see some figures. There are usually like 2 to 3 people, depending on the deck. And yes, it's normally moving in this direction, but it makes me think that these people are on this boat, but they're out of view, which means they're over here. And it also, for some reason, is making me think that it's going that way. I don't know why, but it feels like this is the back of the boat. And also that because we can't see these figures over here, that there are still some unknowns here, and that there are still some things that you don't know yet, which is obvious. We already kind of went over that. There are some aspects of this that you don't have answers to yet, that is still unknown, but that you will find out by continuing to move toward this thing that you are resistant about. And also because we have the Fool here, which is a new beginning and taking a leap and not knowing what's going to happen and moving toward the unknown. So, is this thing meant for you? Well, we could say that it does seem to be something that you are being encouraged to move toward. That doesn't mean that you have to. If you're feeling over it and you don't want to continue, you don't have to. I'm not necessarily seeing energy where it's like, you really need to do this. But it does seem like the encouragement is to move toward it. And to allow there to be unknowns, to allow it to be a beginning in a way, and to be open to learning, open to seeing a new perspective, having courage, having the confidence to move toward it, even if you don't know how it's going to work out, and like really releasing fear around it if you can, because the Fool like doesn't really care as much. Look, like the Fool's here just juggling, enjoying the day, like doesn't know what's going on other than up here in the sky, just kind of like going along with life, having a sense of like joy and ease and freedom. And with this bird flying, it just makes me think like, if you can get into more of a state of like flow with like how things are and what they are, and just kind of accepting and allowing things to be. And also the way that these waves are in the Six of Swords is also making me think like you're sort of meant to go with the flow, and you're meant to go with the flow toward this thing that you've been reluctant about. And that also like you're sort of being, magnetized or drawn in that direction. And so if you give up the resistance to it, you will find there will be more ease, and you will drift more into success with this. And so I don't want to get too deep into these cards, because I do want to pull cards more about what might be going on subconsciously and how to address those. But overall, I will say that the energy is moving towards this thing that you've been putting off. And so I think that this isn't the time to give up. This is the time to keep going, and that there may be some fears and things in here, especially around the unknown, that are making you feel maybe resentment toward it too. But overall, I do think you're meant to do this, and that it's not meant to stay this difficult either. So let's look at what might be going on subconsciously that may be thwarting you or slowing you down. And let's see if there are any fears or beliefs that need to be addressed and how we can address those. Okay. Eight of Cups. The World. The High Priestess and the Knight of Wands. So what might be going on below the surface that might be thwarting you or slowing you down? With the Eight of Cups and the World here, I'm feeling like you just don't want to deal with a lot of aspects of this anymore. And you just want to be like, it's this feeling of just wanting to be done or successful, and like having completion with this, not wanting to do all the steps, not wanting to go through all the feelings, not wanting to wade through any of this anymore. And just there's this desire to be in completion with whatever this is, and to have like the positive benefits of completing this thing, and also of just feeling and being successful. Like maybe this feeling of success that you are after in whatever this is something that you haven't ever really been able to access in any meaningful or long-term way, or in this area of life you haven't been able to. And so it feels like there is that inner resistance, because it's this true to just not wanting to deal with it, not wanting to deal with like all of this junk. And it also feels like there are feelings coming up from the past. So I don't know if whatever you're trying to do that you don't really want to do has roots in something in the past, or reminds you like the feelings that you're feeling, the resistance, the annoyance, the frustration, the anger, the anxiety. Does it remind you of anything in years past or from your childhood? And can you kind of dig into the roots of that and see if like you can bring a scenario to mind possibly, or an experience to mind, and see what's in there for you, and sort of just dig it out as much as you can and investigate it. and see what those feelings were all about, what you got at that time, what you didn't get at that time, what you needed, what didn't end up like being fulfilled for you in this situation. Because I think there's something, especially I think it is from your childhood. I'm seeing like maybe elementary school, middle school, and there seems to be something from that time, or just when you were an age in that time, where you tried to make headway in something and you weren't making progress, or maybe people were like telling you weren't good at something, or other people were better. There's something there, not wanting to deal with that, just there's a desire in you to just have this already be done, have it already be working out and be successful. And to have like maybe the validation from others that you're doing a good job, have like, if this is something you're trying to do, that it might be something that will bring in like accolades of some kind, or you're hoping it will bring in money or stability, approval. There are several different things that you're hoping this thing will bring to you. You may not even be aware. Like you might be like, I'm doing it because of this. And while that may be true, there may be other underlying reasons that you're also doing this, or hoping that by doing it, it will work out and become something else. So, there is some self-investigation required here, not only looking into possibly the past, but also looking into all of your motivations. Even if you're not even sure that's a motivation or not, you might want to like jot them down and be like, maybe I'm doing it because of this. Maybe I'm doing it because of this. And just start that process of internal, like looking within and questioning yourself and checking in. And even like if there is frustration, if there is anxiety, sitting down when you're having those feelings and feeling them and allowing them to come to the surface, even though they are so uncomfortable, and seeing if they have anything to tell you, or if they have like images of the past to show you, or anything, because I think there are answers in the emotional side of this, the feeling side of this. And again, that seems to be like fear and anger mostly. And there may be some like fear of failure here too. I think they're purposely, I think, not giving me like super specific information, because this is something that you are meant to do partially on your own, which I think is also a key to like unlocking some of the success, or like unlocking some of the flow that will help this to feel more easy and fun again. And it feels almost like a cop-out for me to be like, just look at your past. This is why you're blocked. Like duh, but that's what I'm getting. So that's what I'm going to tell you. And when we look at more about any fears or beliefs that need to be addressed with the High Priestess and the Knight of Wands. So again, we had intuition come forward in some previous cards, and the High Priestess is again a very psychic card a lot of times. And so I wonder if there are blocks concerning your intuition and being able to trust your gut, and being able to trust, especially because I think that you are having some negative feelings about this thing, whatever it is, but you're also like meant to move toward it. So it's like, well, shouldn't I trust the feeling that I'm frustrated and annoyed, and maybe I have like doubt about this and I feel anxious? Like, aren't those signs that I shouldn't be doing this? But it's not, because it looks like you are supposed to be doing this, or like you are meant to move toward this thing. There seems to be something here around your intuition and trusting it and not knowing how to trust it. And so there also, I hate to say this, there may also be childhood wounds around trusting your intuition. Maybe you had a really strong intuition as a child, and like you were kind of talked out of it, or the way society is and the way that like school can be, and like the things that adults tell you, all that stuff can sort of sometimes mess with your intuition, because a lot of times it doesn't your intuition is telling you certain things, but society is like, we do it this way. And so those limitations may have had you doubt your intuition and doubt yourself. And that's part of the reason you may be doubting yourself now and doubting your abilities right now. There's some confusion around what's intuition and what's not, and what you're meant to move forward and what you're not. And yeah, there's just like this inner confusion around this. It's not even like, I do think that you're having some fears, but I think this is more about your beliefs around what's true for you and what's right for you. And so it's also making me think that maybe when you were younger, you knew what was right for you, whether that was what you wanted to wear that day, what you wanted to eat, what was healthy for you, who was right for you to like befriend, or like what you wanted to study in school or what you wanted to read about, like any of those things. Like maybe you were like, I like this, I want this, but you were told that you had to do something else, or you were told that it was stupid, or somehow people got in your head about the things that you knew were right for you. And that could have been your parents, it could have been your teachers, it could have been other kids. I don't know what it would have been for you, but somehow it seems like people took away that sense of knowing that you had a very clear understanding and knowing of what was yours and what was right for you, what you wanted to move toward. And that got a little bit messed up somewhere along the line. And so now you question it. And so you question, is this right for me? Am I meant to move toward this? You might even be the type of person who asks a million people, like, what do you think? And then you get even more confused because like some people think you should do this, some people think you should do that. And it ends up making it even less clear. So what needs to be addressed is your inner knowing and your belief in yourself, your knowing of what is right for you, how to move toward things, what feels right and feels good, and also having like full confidence in your abilities and your skills and your ability to move forward and in what you're working toward, and being able to take action with this Knight of Wands toward these things. Because I think whatever you're working toward may be a dream of some kind. I think it's really positive, but because of what's been going on with it and your beliefs and your fears and all of the emotions and stuff, that has made you question if it is for you, if you do like it, if it is a dream, like, and you know, I think that internally there is a lot of very clear knowing, but there's junk in the way because of the limitations and rules and things that other people have put on you, or the way that they have shamed you for what you wanted. And so that's what needs to be addressed. And it's these beliefs about yourself and what's right for you. And with the High Priestess, like, I definitely think that you do have the answers internally. You have all of the knowledge to move toward your dreams and move toward what's right for you, and to know like how to move through and past any blocks that have been getting in your way. Because I think that for a while you have felt very blocked in this area of your life, and you have felt like you can't move forward, or you don't know how. It brings a lot of emotions up and stuff like that. So let's see how we can address what's going on for you. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands. Actually, let's just do this. We'll leave these here because that's what we're going to address. So we've got the Ace of Wands. We also have the Queen of Pentacles. And we have the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, great. So we've got two aces here, and these are all such positive cards. So let's take a look and see what they want to tell you. So in looking at like how to address this self-doubt and this inability to trust your gut and know what to move toward, the first thing that I get with these aces, and especially the Ace of Wands, is that part of how you break through the questioning is to just do things. So instead of like trying to plan them out, figure things out step by step, get other people's opinions, figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work and what's right and what's not, is to literally just do it. Just do stuff. Like when you have the inspiration or the idea or anything, just do it. You probably will make some mistakes, and that's actually okay, because I think that what's really going to propel you forward is taking action and like not thinking it through too much. There is an element of thinking it through, not moving too quickly. So wands are pretty fast moving and pentacles are very slow moving. And so there is a balanced energy here needed from you where you do make sure you're doing things from a grounded state. So, maybe I don't know if everyone can relate to this, but when you're like a little bit more manic, I don't know, if you drink coffee and like you drink too much coffee and you're like, what's the word? I'm like thinking of like words that aren't real. Like, I want to say you're zazzed up. I don't know what the word is, but like, when like you've got like energy where your mind is kind of like all over the place, but you're like very motivated. And so you're doing lots of stuff, but it comes from almost like too much of a manic place. Versus like when you are like really grounded, like when your body feels like comfortable and safe, your mind is quieter and you're taking action from that place. That's really what you're meant to do. So you're not meant to overthink these things to death, or like, again, I feel like I see you like planning out details to the smallest degree of like, okay, I need to take step 1, and step 1 has A, B, and C, and A has 1, 2, 3, and B, it's like that's great. Sometimes that's exactly what is needed, is to like break things down into the smallest steps, but you are not meant to do that right now. You are meant to even make a few mistakes because you're going to make more progress if you just do it, but don't just do it because I said do it. So now you just do it. It's like calm yourself down first. So whatever makes you feel grounded. If you need to eat a meal, drink some water, if you need to take a walk, if you need to laugh, I don't know, whatever makes you feel calmer. Okay. You basically need to do that. And then from there, you think, okay, on this thing that I've been putting off, what is something I can do right now? Like without breaking it down into unbearable details that I'm going to feel like overwhelmed by, without needing it to be perfect, because right now, maybe think of it as like you're doing things that are experimental. Okay. What can you do even if it feels scary to do it? And so that's one thing, because if you do that and you do more of it, not only will you start getting things done and moving through the I don't want to do it phase, but also it's going to address some of these things that have been going on for you. So it's going to help you get back in tune with what is right for you, what feels right, like the feelings that like this feels right, this feels wrong, instead of trying to analyze it to death or try to figure it out or like get everyone's opinions. It will also help you to move through that wanting of other people's approval, because I do think that is here a little bit. And so by just doing it and disregarding what other people think about it is going to help you move through this. And you will just realize that the more that you do this, you aren't thinking so much about the same things that you were thinking about. You're not as worried about them anymore. You break through some of that frustration with yourself, and also the self-doubt. And some of that is going to come forward as you take these actions. It's just going to. But what you've got to do is just keep grounding yourself, keep taking action, and just keep going. And also with these aces, trying new things and allowing, for change to happen. Like if you've been doing it this way and it's still not working out, that it might just be taking its time, but also it might be that you're meant to try something new with it. But I really see like all of this growth here in these cards. And so on the one hand, you, by grounding yourself and taking action and not worrying so much, you're going to push through things and you're going to experience like self-growth. But also what you will experience is growth in this project or whatever it is that you're working on. You will notice that you are learning new things, that you are maybe teaching other people things, that you are understanding things you didn't understand before, that your knowledge is growing, and that also you are getting better and better. And with the Queen of Pentacles here too, it feels like it's going to become so much more comfortable, because right now I think you feel really uncomfortable. But if you can push through it and not give up and just keep going and like investigate the things that may be coming up from the past, all of this stuff, then you will find that this is going to be a much more comfortable process and that you can actually relax into it. And if it is something that is bringing money in, or you hope it will bring money to you one day, this is an indication here that it certainly will, especially if you don't give up, and especially if you keep moving forward as fearlessly as you are able to do. And also with the Ace of Wands, find that spark of passion that you have for this, because I don't think that you would have ever done this if you didn't have some passion for it or some motivation or something. And so it's time to also tune back into what it is that sparked this in the first place, or find the inspiration that you have within this that will drive you forward. Because I think that you might be really stuck in like the ickiness of it, the resistance, the annoyance, the emotions that you don't want to be feeling and all of that stuff. But there is a way to get back into flow and to enjoy the process. And so part of what you're meant to do is find the enjoyment in it again, and also allow yourself to envision this coming to not necessarily a conclusion, but to a state of feeling more successful in it, because I don't think you actually want to reach the end of it right now. You're just wanting to reach a point where it's giving back to you, and you're just not giving all of your time and energy to something that's not working out. You want to see results, right? So this is about moving through what's going on so that you can see results, because it looks like results are waiting in the wings for you. Okay. So group 1, I think that's all I've got for you today. It was a delight as always to spend this time with you. If you are open to liking the video or leaving a comment, to let me know how it resonated, please do. And I will see you again soon. Okay. Bye. Hi, group 2. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Azurite and this Chariot card from the Ethereal Visions Tarot. We are looking at what you don't want to do, what you have been putting off, or what you are reluctant about. So we're going to start by seeing what this might be for you, and if that thing is even meant for you. And based on what we get with that question, we will dive deeper to try to help you with this. Okay. So let me do a quick shuffle. What is group 2 reluctant to do? What are they putting off? What do they not want to do? These cards are so hard to shuffle. Okay, so group 2, what are you reluctant to do? Okay, we have the Moon, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Ten of Wands. Man, I have to say, with the last group and this group, there really is a strong I don't want to energy, which I know this is what we're doing the reading on, but I didn't expect it to be so intense. It's like, I don't want to. It's like, I'm worried people aren't even going to watch this reading because they don't even want to think about what they don't want to do. But there are a few energies in this one. So we had 3 cards come out for this group. So some of you with the Ten of Wands, it is making me think that some of you just have like a lot on your plate. You don't want to do all your errands. You do not want to do all your chores. You don't want to have to do all these like things on the to-do list. It's like if you're at work, you have too many tasks on your plate. It's like there's just too much to do. And it feels exhausting. And it feels like what you would rather be doing instead is like daydreaming or like relaxing or like sleeping instead of like having to like haul these sticks around. And I think for a lot of you, this probably is related to work because we have the Pentacles here, and it can be about making money, but it can also be about like I said, chores and errands and things, because the Queen of Pentacles can be about like having like a clean, beautiful, healthy, happy home as well. And so I think most people here are dealing with resistance around things that they have to do at work or for money, or things that they have to do related to like the day to day and like keeping their house in order or their car in order, or like even taking care of things for other people. So there might be people here with kids or pets or other family members or people they live with that they also feel sort of responsible for. And there's just this like big desire to like not think about it, not deal with it, not be present with it, and to just sort of like, this moon in particular is just making me think about getting lost in a daydream, you know, sleeping. And like, if you have a lot of dreams at night, this might be you wanting to do that and to get lost in like that world instead of the, you know, real world that we are currently in at this moment. And there's also this feeling of kind of just wishing things were different, wishing things weren't as hard as they are, or you didn't have as many responsibilities as you do. It's this feeling of just really wanting to escape. And also like you may have been doing a lot of escape with daydreaming and stuff, but maybe like you're drinking more than you normally would, or you're like going out more, or you are watching more TV, or just getting lost in other worlds, like not just TV, but maybe you're reading, maybe you're playing video games. Like there seems to be some energy here of wanting to distract yourself from thinking about all the stuff that you have to do, just wanting to escape a little bit and wanting to like drift off into a lighter energy where you're not having to like do so much, because it feels so heavy and exhausting. And like, even if it's like things that aren't that bad, you're like, I don't know why I'm putting this off. Like it would take me 5 minutes to wash the dishes. It would take me like 25 minutes to go to the store and buy toilet paper. Like it could be even things like that, where it's like, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but you just don't want to. So, you know, what I was going to ask is, if this thing you don't want to do is meant for you, are you meant to move toward it, take a break, or move away from it? But I'm trying to think if I want to change this question for you, because it just feels like it's the day-to-day that you don't really want to face. So I wonder if, because it feels like these are things like you have to do. It does kind of feel that way, although I think there's probably some people here who are taking on more responsibility than they need to. So let's not even ask that question. Let's just move directly into what is going on subconsciously for you that may be thwarting you or slowing you down. Any like fears or beliefs that are needing to be addressed or getting in your way, and how we address them. And if that just moves really quickly, because we're skipping a question for you, then I will pull a couple oracle cards for you so that we can get more info. Okay. So if this ends up being like a really speedy reading. So, what is going on subconsciously for group 2 that may be thwarting them or slowing them down or making everything harder than it needs to be? Okay. We have the 6 of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Hermit. Okay, the thing that I'm getting right away with the 6 of Cups is like, some of you may be feeling like you miss how easy childhood was, you know, or like when you were younger and maybe you had people kind of taking care of the day to day. So there's some like maybe nostalgia here around like how things used to be, how easy and simple they used to be. And also because it's nostalgia, it could be that you are sort of like seeing things as better than they actually were, you know, because, you know, think about like when you're a kid and you hate that like you have to be told what to do and you want like the freedom to do whatever you want, but now you feel trapped in another way and you wish for like the freedom of childhood. So there's something here with that of like, you know, getting to have like other people paying the bills so you didn't have to work, or people are doing the chores and the errands and you get to play outside with your friends, or that kind of thing of like holding yourself to like these past memories and like holding on to them and sort of like wishing for them and longing for them. Because with this group, I am getting some like daydreamy longing energy where you get maybe like either attached to the past or like you kind of get lost in fantasy and you don't want to deal with the real world. And, you know, I don't blame you because, you know, the real world is like kind of set up in a terrible way, in my opinion. So, but anyway, there could be some of this. And also this feeling that like, it wasn't supposed to be like this. Like the way that you imagined adulthood or this time in your life was very different from how it truly seems to be. And there's also some energy here where some people in this group may be feeling very alone or very on their own or lonely or like they don't have enough help. And that's the way the Hermit is coming through to me right away, especially with this Six of Cups, because it feels like, oh, in childhood, like I had help, I had support, I had people taking care of me, I had friends, like, and it feels like, oh, now that I'm an adult, like turns out I have to do all this shit on my own. Like that doesn't seem fair. It's this like feeling that things are just not really fair and they're not how you expected them to be or how you wanted them to be. And it doesn't really feel good. And, you know, we asked what was going on subconsciously, but this feels pretty conscious to me. Like this is how you currently are feeling like, and you know, you feel this way. Yeah. And for some reason, the Ace of Pentacles is really just giving me this feeling too of like, it wasn't supposed to be like this. Like, this is what it was supposed to be like this. It was supposed to be like this and it's not. And so this version of like adult you has this lantern with this star in it and you're shining it like over here on this Ace of Pentacles. And you were like, see, this is what I was promised. And this is what I want. And so I don't want to like slog along, like, you know, doing all this stuff I don't want to do and having all this responsibility just on me. Like I want what I was promised. It's that feeling. And, you know, this skull here in the corner is also just making me think like that you sometimes wonder if like, this is even worth it. Not that I'm saying that you are like suicidal, but that sometimes you wonder if it's like worth all the work, if it's worth all the trouble. It's like, I don't know if I like life. Like life isn't what I thought it was going to be. Like the day to day isn't what I thought it was going to be. Like you really seem to feel like too much is on your shoulders specifically, and it's not how you wanted things to be. I don't know if this group has more like single people in it that like, maybe you live by yourself and you don't have help with the chores and the errands or the bills or anything. And so if that's the case, not only do you have to do all that stuff on your own and it's more work and it's more expensive and it's more time and energy consuming, but then it leaves little left over maybe for you to connect with other people and to feel like you have those connections in your life. And you know, there's this little bell hanging off of his staff here too. And that's making me think like you're ringing the bell. You're like, yeah, okay, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. And so what you do when you feel that way is you maybe escape into fantasy a little bit, or you escape into games, books, TV, substances, food, whatever it is that is your escape. And I don't blame you. And, so that's definitely, you know, we asked what was sort of like getting in your way. And I think it's these beliefs around feeling like this isn't right, but also I can feel that it isn't right. Something isn't right here. It's not fair. And I think that in a lot of ways, like there's a lot of unfairness in this world, in the society with all of us. We all feel some unfairness in some part of our life. And so I don't even think that like, you know, I think it's just saying what's happening, you know, and like, I kind of agree with you, but let's see if there are any deeper fears or beliefs that need to be addressed that would help you with moving through this. So are there any fears or beliefs that need to be addressed here? The Knight of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles. We're going to start there. first, I want to say there are always like fears and beliefs under the surface, right? That could be addressed, that could help. And so we're going to get into that. But I also want to say like there is this energy that things just kind of do seem sort of unfair for you right now, and that it's not even necessarily your fault or your responsibility. And it's kind of like, no wonder you don't want to do this stuff. Like that's what's coming through for me. And it's not like a personal failing or anything like that. And so what we might end up doing, like I'll see what these cards say, but what we might end up doing is just seeing like where things are going to go from you that might offer relief at some point, because I don't even know if this is entirely up to you, but let's take a look. So we've got the Knight of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles. So fears and beliefs that need to be addressed. So there is I do feel like you have a guard up with this Knight of Pentacles, that you might also be keeping like connections out of your life to a degree because you may have been disappointed in the past, because it seems like, you know, I think we all kind of care about reciprocity in our relationships to varying degrees. I think that you really do care about it. It's important to you. Not only do I think that you are very giving, and that's also part of the reason you may have like a lot of responsibility on you right now, especially if it's like at work, because people know you'll do it and that you take accountability for your work and things like that. But I think that you are a pretty generous person. I think that you're pretty giving, and you may not even expect people to give as much in return, but you do want some return. And what it has felt like is in life, maybe at work, maybe in your relationships, maybe in every area of your life, it has felt like you are giving more than you are receiving in return. And I wonder if you were like mad at the universe sometimes, because it's like, what the heck? Like, I'm a good person. I do good things. Like I give, like I'm doing all these things. Why am I not receiving in return? So it feels like it kind of makes you get out of here. It feels like it maybe makes you feel like there's this little fruit fly that is driving me nuts. Why are you here? Sorry. So because of these feelings of not receiving in turn for what you give, it has seemed to like make you put an extra guard up, because I think that you feel a little bit angry, you feel a little bit hurt, you feel like things are not fair. And so you've sort of armored up against life, against, you know, the universe, because it's like, well, I guess I'll take care of myself, and taking care of myself is turning my back on the way things are, which again is making me think about you doing things to like distract yourself, which is fine. Like, I'm not saying that like, you're using distractions too much. I don't know if you are or not, or like maybe you feel guilty for distracting yourself, but like, I think sometimes like distractions are a positive thing in life. I think sometimes watching TV is a positive thing, you know, and like sometimes we do need to zone out because it's too much and our mind is going in too many directions. And like, we need to do things that will maybe just zone us out a little bit so we can calm back down. So I'm not saying like this is a problem, but what it seems like is that you have armored up in a way that is not really allowing you to receive in the ways that you want to receive. And you may not agree with me about that. And that might not be the case for you, but what it does seem to be a little bit under your consciousness. And so you might want to investigate that a little bit. Like, are you closing yourself off in any way to receiving because you expect that you won't receive? And this could also go back to childhood, of course. Like, it could go back to, you know, even though maybe childhood was easier in some ways, or you were nostalgically seeing it that way, or it seemed like you had your needs met and stuff like that. Maybe you did, but also maybe things happened in childhood where you really weren't receiving everything that you needed and wanted, and that has like affected you throughout time. Or maybe you can pinpoint a time, like maybe you had a really difficult relationship that took from you, and that's when you armored up. Somewhere along the line, you started armoring up. And, you know, I could say that we all have done that. Like, even people that seem very open, they may be closed off in another area. It's not like wow, you're so closed off compared to everybody else. It's just that like you have not been receiving to the degree that you have given. And that I can see here. And I can also tell you that it is genuinely unfair. And also, not to put the blame on you, because I don't think that this is your fault, because I also think that this is somewhat subconscious, but because you have armored up in some way, it is preventing you from receiving as much as you are meant to receive. And as much as like, maybe if we say you're mad at the universe wants to help you and wants to give to you, but you've got like a closed off aspect to you where you're not allowing it in. And I don't think that's conscious, because I think consciously you're like, no, I want stuff. Like I want to be given to, but you're closed off somewhere inside. Like I see like an internal shield has gone up. And so what I want to do is look at how we can address that. What might you need to do in order to open back up? Okay, so we have the 9 of Wands and the 10 of Pentacles. Okay, so the first thing that is recommended for you to do is to take a look with this 9 of Wands here. Take a look at your wounds. Where have you been wounded around receiving? So if you had a perfectly happy, joyous childhood with no issues, and then you got to be like 25 and you got into a serious relationship and that person was awful to you, okay? And that's when this kind of started. Let's just say that. Then it's time to look back, even if you're like, I healed from that. I already moved on from that. I'm 40 now. Like, you know, however long it's been, however much you think you're over it, there is like a wounding event or period of time in your life where you developed this need to shield yourself, to stay vigilant. So you have become like maybe hyper vigilant. You've learned to protect yourself, which can be very positive and healthy, but it's like you almost went too far because you were like, I do not want that to happen again. Or it could be like, you know, you were a kid and like maybe your parents did the best they could, but like maybe you weren't receiving enough attention or love, or like, you didn't get to do certain things other kids did because your parents didn't have like the time to take you, something like that. There, obviously it's going to be, you're going to know your own personal history and like what has happened in that realm, but like somewhere, in relationship to other people, it seems like you didn't get your needs met. And, you know, you might even now like have tempered your needs so much that you're like, there's not a lot I need. But if you go back to when you were younger, you will see that like you maybe have a plethora of needs, because we all have needs. And it's not that you necessarily need a person to fulfill all of those, but like you may have taken on this, this belief that you don't need a lot. And it's like, well, why aren't my needs being met? I barely need anything. And even those aren't being met. So part of it, I mean, sure, that could be true, but part of it is acknowledging all of your needs, all of the things that you do need to feel safe and happy and secure and all of that stuff. Even if like, it can be hard to look at these things if you don't think that they're going to be fulfilled, because then it's going to be like, oh no, like I need these 9 things fulfilled and I don't even have one of them fulfilled. And like, it might be hard because it's like, you don't want to suddenly feel like you are needy. And not only are you needy, but like you don't have any way to fulfill these needs. I understand, but it's time to acknowledge your needs fully and completely. Dive into your wounding events that caused you to not receive what you needed, because that is where you armored up, where you created these like defenses against receiving. And it may seem like this is opposite. You're like, no, that's not what I did. You might be like, I know what I need and I'm not getting my needs met. And it's not about that. But I think that it's showing up subconsciously because there is something here that is about that. Yeah. And with the 10 of Pentacles also, it just makes me think that there are so many things that would make you feel more comfortable and fulfilled and safe and supported and taken care of. And that like there are people meant to be in your life that would help you feel supported and feel like family, chosen or otherwise. And even like more financial abundance, like abundance in every area. And you are meant to receive these gifts. And again, I am not saying that it's your fault that you don't have them. I think that there are things that are, like I said, genuinely unfair in your life right now and just in the world as it is. But I think what will sort of unlock this bounty that you are meant to have, and I think you are so dissatisfied because unconsciously there is this knowing that you are meant to have all of this. So, you know, there's this need to address your armor, your defenses, what you have that's closed off. And I think that when you do, there may be some fear that comes forward as well, because when we protect ourselves, you know, it keeps us sort of safe, even if we're dissatisfied, even if it like blocks us off from like receiving gifts and like wonderful things in some area of life or in all areas, it still keeps us safe. And so when we remove that protective barrier, we are suddenly more vulnerable to the elements, and there may be anxiety and fear that comes forward, which would then need to be dealt with. And I'm not saying that you should be defenseless and like remove all of your internal protection and just, you know, I'm not saying that, because I think that there are ways that we protect ourselves that are really healthy. So for example, if you did have a toxic relationship and you learned things from that, it's not like, oh, now I'm going to wander into any relationship. No, like take the lessons you've learned about people. There are some people who are genuinely not safe. Okay. It's not just opening yourself up to the world as a whole, but like looking at where you are defensive or guarded or closed off or overly protective of yourself in ways that could be let down, especially around like safer people. And I'm going to pull a couple oracle cards for you because I told you I would. So 1 second. Okay, so I dropped some cards, so you may notice these are in slightly different position. So I got a few oracle cards for you. So we have 5 of air, fear, which would be the 5 of swords. We have transparency. The energy of transparency supports our expansion toward a higher vibrational state of being with more insight, honesty, and clarity. And then we have safe and surrounded by love. Keep your heart open and know you are being protected. Listen to what you know to be true and allow yourself to see and understand what is going on around you. Okay, so with transparency here, I think this is talking about also, this is about letting down your guard. So basically, because the way that I'm seeing your energy right now is like, I see like sort of like an aura, like you're sort of like see-through, except just a few inches inside your energy field. It's like shoo, like this block, like that's where the armor is. It's like, and so what I think this transparency card is telling you is that it's time to sort of like release that and allow yourself to be sort of transparent again, to allow your energy to sort of be open, to allow energy to flow in and out, because this also opens you up to receiving. And so if you are an intuitive person, or if you are in tune with your body and your energy at all, you might sit down and like feel your energy, like feel if you can feel like the limitation or how like you feel like stuck right here, and see if you can like open up and like feel the energy expand around your body. You can even like, you know, do something like this to sort of like feel the air expand. And doing that like as a practice will start to like open you up as like a way of just sort of letting down your guard without having to like go to like deep with it. Like if you don't want to like be like, I'm going to question myself all day and journal, like you can do that. But like this would be an easier way of like practicing opening up your energy, which will open up your ability to like to receive and to allow flow. And then it helps you like expand too into the state of being that you would like to be in. And also with the number 43, it's making me think like love you. So I think it's telling you also to have more love for yourself. And while you do seem like somebody who is very giving, and even with yourself, you might be. And so you might think like, I love myself. That's not a problem I have. That might be true, but there seems to be something here where there isn't maybe an aspect of yourself that you don't love, or you don't love. You could even say like, I don't love that I don't receive. And so there is something within your experience that you don't love. So if you can open up your ability to feel love for your experience, even if you don't want it to be that way, even if you're like, well, I don't want to love what I don't like. I don't want it to think like I want it to stay. Opening yourself up to like acceptance and love for the way things are is also going to help sort of dissolve what is in the way, if that makes sense. It's not going to perpetuate it. It's going to relieve you of it over time. And safe and surrounded by love, again, like this is about, keeping yourself open, opening up your heart and knowing that you're still like safe and protected, and keeping that healthy protection, like the knowledge you've gained over time about like who is safe and who's not. But also it's just about like opening yourself up and allowing things to flow. And I think part of like when we feel like we're not receiving, that could be like I've kind of been saying, like a closed offness to receiving, even if that's not what we want. And so if we can practice like opening up, and there's in wanting to receive, there's a wanting there, right? And so there's a feeling of lack as well, of like, I'm not getting. And so if you can sort of like open up and like notice this wanting to receive and sort of open up your energy to it and let it kind of flow, it will flow right out, especially with practice. And then you won't be feeling so much lack, and then you'll start to notice things are coming in. Does that make sense? And again, I want to reiterate that this is not your fault. This is just, advice for you based on your energy and what's going on for you. And again, listen to what you know to be true. That's going to keep you protected. But, and seeing and understanding what is going on around you, being observant is going to help protect you. But I think you've gone into like hyper vigilance rather than observing and understanding and absorbing. So there's a lot of energy about opening up. With the 5 of air, I'm going to read what's in the book. It's not that long. Okay. In essence, fear, mental agitation, confusion, trepidation, self-doubt, relationship trouble, thoughts of abandonment. So that seems to be things that might be going on for you. I don't know if you want to be able to read this, so I'll hold it a little bit closer. This card, inner message, this card reflects the fear of inadequacy and possible failure. At the same time, it reminds us to take a deeper than usual look at fear. The existential fear we all carry around with us in one form or another can only be discharged by seeing through it completely. If we direct our attention at fear without identifying with it, fear dissolves on its own. Become aware that you are not your fear. So this is sort of what I've been saying, but also like if you are working on reducing your guardedness, and fear comes forward, this is a reminder to sit with it, allow it to be. It's hard, but it will start to dissolve and move out. Outward manifestation. This is a good time to make far-reaching internal changes. Turn around to look within. Realize that blindly rushing along will only lead to further conflict and entanglement. Only by moving away from a challenging situation, inwardly as well as outwardly, can you get calm enough to see through it and thus get a much better handle on things. Wow, I'm bad at reading right now. but I think that that's also reiterating my point here that it is time to work with what you've got going on internally. Find where you're closed off, where you're guarded, all of this stuff, because you're really meant to have, this 10 of Pentacles. You're meant to have feelings of support and like not having to do it all yourself. And so while it may just be like, well, I just don't want to do my chores, this didn't need to go that deep. Like there's a reason for it. And like, you know, I'm not saying now go do all your chores, but if you are like, I usually watch TV to procrastinate, like maybe before you watch TV, because I'm not saying don't do it, take a few minutes to like feel your feelings around what you're procrastinating and like diving a little bit deeper into what that could mean. And I really think that all of this is coming forward for you because you're on the brink of changing these things and like understanding certain things that have been subconscious within you, and that like, yeah, life has been unfair, but like that doesn't mean it has to stay that way. Okay. So group 2, I think that's really all I've got for you. It was wonderful to spend this time with you. If you liked this reading, please hit the like button, leave a comment if you would like to, but I will see you again soon. Bye. Hi, group 3. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Aqua Aura Quartz and the Wheel of Fortune from the Modern Witch Tarot. I've already shuffled this deck because it's hard to shuffle and it's embarrassing to do on camera. So we are looking at what you don't want to do, what you're avoiding, what you're putting off, what you are reluctant about. We're going to start by seeing what that might be and if that thing is even meant for you to do. And based on what we get with that question, we will dive deeper to try to help you with this, okay? So for group 3, what are they avoiding? What are they reluctant to do? The Hierophant. Okay. The 3 of Wands and the Lovers. I think I have to cover these butts. Okay. Okay. This might be specific. What I see first is like an avoiding of releasing or letting go of either a relationship or something that you have been obsessing about or ruminating on, or like something that you have held on to for a long time, or like a long-term project. Like maybe you, this is just an example, but maybe you like moved into a house that you were like, I'm going to fix up this house. And you had a plan to fix it up in a year, and it's now 15 years later and like things are still going wrong. It's not fixed up, and it's like you had your heart in it, but like you're sort of like beaten down at this point and you're tired and but you don't want to give up on it because you've put so much time and energy into it. Or a relationship, whether it was long-term or not, it would be a relationship in this case where you have really put your all into it in some way, whether it is a family relationship, a romantic relationship, any kind of relationship, or even a job where you have put in so much of yourself. And basically, it seems like something that you know that you may need to walk away from or let go of, but you don't want to. And so you're avoiding dealing with it or making the decision because you're still hoping that things are going to pan out, that like the ships are going to come in, that person was going to commit to change, or that, you know, people will see what you've given and see you for how you are. It's a scenario like this. Okay. So it doesn't have to be one of those specifics, but I would say you probably would know by now whether or not this is for you. You're not sure if you can let go of something or what the right thing is to do. And so you're avoiding making the decision. And I see rumination here and dwelling and obsession and overthinking and like trying to figure it out and trying to give something more time, or maybe not wanting to let go. If you're just, you know, if a relationship ended, for example, and you're ruminating on it, it's like you might know that it's not coming back, but you're having trouble letting go. And so you're, instead of like maybe doing the work to release it, you're hanging on to it. Or maybe you don't even know why you're still obsessing about it. It's something like this. And it's like in the Hierophant here, it's like her dress is like torn at the bottom. Her scarf looks torn. It's like she looks great, you know, but it's like because it's torn, it's making me think that like she's been here for a long time, and like the way that she's looking forward but not at them, it's like she's hoping for something, or she's like, even just the way she's holding her hand like this, it's making me think she's like, give it 2 seconds. Like, let me give it 2 more minutes. Let me give it 2 more years. Like, it's this, hold on, I think I can make it. Like, but right here, this is what's present. This is what's right in front of her. And this almost feels like either like people or friends or something. They're like, you got to give this up. Why are you still thinking about this? Why are you still hoping for this? Why are you still trying? It's like people are kind of like, come on. And you're like, nope. And you know, with the 5 here, it's like, I feel like you're hoping for change. And so you're like, if I just hold on a little longer, I've already done it this long. Like, I don't want to give up now. What if I give up and then it would have turned out? It would have become, you know, everything working out for me. But I feel like even with this angel and the Lover's card, even the angel is like, you know, hands over their heart. And it's like, I know you've put so much into this. I know you've really tried. I know you've like bared your soul, or you've given, or you've become vulnerable. You've opened up to whatever this is, and you don't want to let it go. I know. It's like, I know. There's a lot of compassion here for you, and whatever it is that you are dealing with or having trouble either moving on from, or releasing, or making a decision on. And so let's find out if you are meant to release this, if you are meant to give it more time. Let's just get some more information for you. Seven of Swords. The Tower. I kind of feel like I want 3. And Justice. Okay, it seems to me that with whatever this thing is for you, it is possibly meant to end and to change, and that you are meant to move on from it. So oftentimes the 7 of Swords for me is about taking what's yours and taking your power back, and like in this case, leaving behind something that is not working out, that is only causing chaos and turmoil and pain, that is keeping you bound to something that isn't healthy or right or good for you anymore. And she looks so powerful. You know, she doesn't look like she's doing like a lot of times the 7 of Swords can be like theft or like betrayal and things like that, but like this one definitely feels positive, but it does feel maybe sad in the sense that this is you, and like you might have to leave behind something you didn't want to. You might have to move on from something that you gave a lot of time and energy to, and that you really put the energy into. Like, you know, in the house example, if you were fixing up a house, like you did all this work to build it up and it's still not working out, right? If it's a relationship, like you tried to build a foundation and like tried to maybe accommodate the other person, but they were not capable of maybe giving in return something, or the energy between you was just not healthy or right or something, or it changed. Or like if a relationship has ended, you know, and it was tumultuous and there was turmoil and it was sad and there were all these things involved, like she does seem to still be focused on whatever this is. You are still focused on whatever this is, of course. That's why we're having this reading. But it's about seeing it for what it really is, being very objective here with the Justice card of like, this is the truth of the matter. This is what I put into it. This is what I've gotten out of it. You know, this is what's happening to me. I'm stuck. I don't want to be stuck in this. And so it's making a choice to move on from it. And so you are meant to release, to let go, to take what's yours and what you've learned from this and take it somewhere else, because it does look like you learned all these lessons, whether you wanted to or not. And while you may have hoped that whatever this was worked out in a different way, it just isn't. It isn't. And you have all this power and beauty and energy and abundance that is going to be appreciated somewhere else and better used somewhere else. And also because of it's the swords, it's making me think about your thoughts. And again, like rumination and overthinking. And instead of like standing there and being indecisive, it's like, okay, I'm going to leave this behind and I'm going to take this and I'm going to move towards somewhere where my thoughts are clear, where things make more sense and where I'm more appreciated and where my talents will bring a progress in this area instead of like staying stagnant or things like not working out. Yeah. And it's about being very logical, very objective and getting very clear-headed instead of like dwelling and thinking and trying to figure it out and trying to resolve it or fix it. I don't think you're meant to fix whatever this is anymore. You're meant to be fair to yourself, okay? I don't think whatever the situation is has been very fair to you, and I don't think that you can fix it because I think that your talents and all of the wonderful things about you are sort of being wasted here. They're not being appreciated. They're not being validated. Like you're meant to be somewhere else. And so because I can see that you are meant to move toward letting this go and finding justice for yourself and not dwelling on this anymore and releasing the mental anguish that you've been in, I think then we'll go ahead and look at any fears or beliefs that may need to be addressed in order for you to move on from this. And if there are, we'll look at how we can address those. But let's also look at what you're meant to move toward instead. Okay? So what fears or beliefs need to be addressed here? We have temperance. And we have strength. And how do we address them? The Queen of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. I want to say with the temperance and strength cards that there seems to be a belief here that it is all up to you, or it was all up to you, like everything lies in your hands, and that you're the one that can fix things and that should fix things and knows how to fix things. And that I do think that you do have the ability to do a lot and that you do have a lot of internal strength and possibly a lot of internal peace, and that you do know how to fix a lot of things, and that maybe you have this belief because you have fixed a lot of things. But I think that for some reason, this thing is a little bit outside of your hands, and that may be hard to face, you know, that I think that too, if this was a relationship or is a relationship, that you may have taken on a lot of the burden of like, you might take care of this person or took care of them more than they did for you. You might have been the one kind of keeping things together and being more stable and strong and maybe protective and maybe mature. And maybe like, you know, you sort of had to like, this person is like a wild animal in some way that you tamed. And I think that you don't want to give up on whatever this is, again, because you put so much into it and that it doesn't make sense that it didn't work. And there's a lot about whatever's going on here that has not made sense and still doesn't make sense. And that I think you've been wanting to make sense of it. And you think if you do the right things, you will. And you seem to have so much like energy still, like there's this kind of vital energy that is still involved here in this situation. And so I think, again, it's this like, if I give it enough time, if I keep going, if I am like good enough in whatever way, then this will work out. And so I think it keeps you attached because you may be a person who is able to accomplish whatever you want and does fix things and like has the capability to do all of these things. And so it keeps you bound to something that's no longer working because you have this strong knowing and belief that you can fix it, change it, whatever. Or also like if you're just stuck in rumination. So like if a relationship ended or a job ended or something and you're stuck thinking about it and that's what's been going on for you, you think that you have like the strength and fortitude to just work through it in thought. It's like, okay, if I think about this enough, like she seems really like, this person here seems really like concentrated on like, if they're not even like looking at this or this, it's like they're doing this, and they're looking off into the distance, like, trying to resolve something by like doing it right and by being like focused and concentrated enough. And so the feeling for me is like, if this person thinks enough, if they think about this aspect of it and this aspect of it and like what would have happened if and what will happen if, and it's just this feeling that you can resolve something by thinking it through. And while I think that you might be a person who is able to think things through and find a solution, I think what's happening here is that you're staying bound to the thoughts, to the rumination, to the trying to fix something that might be unfixable at this point, and that might also be out of your hands and out of your control. And that like, as much as you have the ability and talent to fix things or help people or whatever it is, in this case, I hate to say it, but I think that you've done all you can do. And now the time has come for releasing it and letting it go. Like, this angel here in the Temperance card needs to like put down these glasses, take their foot out of the water and walk down this path to the sun. And I think that a part of you knows this, but like, you know, it's interesting because it feels like you're this angel and yet this strength card woman seems like the actual angel. So it's making me think again that you have this level of thinking that you're more in control than you actually are in the situation, and that you have all this protection and love around you when you are ready and able to turn around and let go and release and move towards something else, and let go of wanting any control over this situation or having any control over it, because you just might not right now. And when we look more at how to address these feelings or these beliefs, it's about tuning into what you do have in your life that is working out, because there's so much abundance energy here, and appreciating the abundance. And that can be financial, of course, but abundance can be so many things. Like maybe you really love your home or your relationships or your hobbies, or maybe you just really love like the snack you make yourself every afternoon. I don't know, but there are certainly things in your life that you have gratitude for. And I don't think that this is like, wow, you haven't been grateful, you need to start being grateful. It's more like paying more attention to those things that you are already happy about, that you are already grateful for. It's about redirecting your attention. And when you find yourself ruminating or lost in indecisiveness or trying to resolve something that you know you've got to let go of at this point, then when you notice this, it's time to turn around and refocus and pay attention to the current moment, but also like the things that are going well and feel abundant for you, because something wasn't abundant, but some things in your life certainly are. And this might also be like treating yourself. Like if you find yourself ruminating, you know, maybe like watch a guilty pleasure TV show, or like make yourself something you like to eat, or go on a little drive or something, instead of indulging in the overthinking or the ruminating or like the how can I fix it or how could I have fixed it. This is about refocusing to the things that are going well, to the things that don't need fixing, to the things that already feel good. And this can also be about like doing physical things to take your mind off of it, to take your energy down from your mind back into your body. So exercising, walking, laying in the grass, taking a bath, digging in the dirt, like gardening, even just like using your senses, like holding on to something hot or cold, like a hot cup of tea or some ice, or like somehow there is a need to get back into your body because you've been very mental or very like, yeah, you've been ruminating, I think. So there's just really advice about whatever is going to bring you back into your body when you find that you're very in your head. And this could also be like playing games, like maybe you play Sudoku or a crossword puzzle, or like, and it would extra help if you're doing it with like a pen and paper or pencil, but you could do it on your phone. You could do it on your computer, but something tactile, where you're using your hands or your body and like, feeling textures or temperature changes or something, or like you're refocusing your mind onto something else so that it cannot ruminate. And let's look at what else you are meant to move toward instead of whatever it is you have been thinking so much about. The Page of Wands, Death. Let's clarify the Page of Wands. The Nine of Wands, let's clarify Death. The Devil. Okay. I think we need to cover these butts. So with the Page of Wands and the Nine of Wands, it is making me think again about whatever it is that you have spent a lot of your energy on, your mental energy on, your physical energy, whatever you have been trying to accomplish for so long or stay with for so long, or like you can't stop thinking about. I think that is represented here by the Nine of Wands. And what this is telling us with the Page of Wands is that it's time to begin again and to again release all of this energy and start fresh with something new. And, if you have had relationship issues and like someone crossed your boundaries, or you've had to develop like too overprotection to protect yourself, or like if you can't stop thinking about all these things they did, it's time to release that and move toward a new beginning, having a fresh new mindset. And like, again, in the relationship example, it's like this person is kind of like battered and beat up a little bit and like extra prepared for everything, but you're sort of meant to like almost go back to how you once were. Like, again, in this example, like how you used to maybe have optimism for relationships where like, it was like just enough to have a crush or something like that. Like there's sort of like, I'm having trouble explaining it, I guess, but sort of energy of like being young about it again, like having your mind be young about it. And not that like, again, in this relationship example, if like someone hurt you and you can't stop thinking about them and what happened to you, what you're meant to move toward isn't figuring it out and like armoring up so much that like this will never happen to you again. It's actually like taking these wands down, releasing them, letting them go so that you can give someone new a chance without having all of this like built-in idea of what's going to happen. If like you've been stuck in a job forever that you're waiting to be seen, it's this same thing of like, you've done all of these things, you've accomplished so much, and still you're not being appreciated. Well, it's time to release that and let that go and start new, maybe somewhere else or in a new position, and like allowing it to be new again. Whatever you've been burdened with, it's time to transform your mind and your way of being with this thing into being like sort of having a younger mind about it, like having more hope, more optimism, more faith in it working out, more curiosity, instead of like trying to prove yourself to people who will never see it, or to trying to accomplish something that like you've put so much work into and it's still not working out. It's about releasing this and moving toward maybe something very similar in that, like, okay, all the examples I've used so far, like, hard relationship, give a chance to a new relationship and be optimistic. And if it is a job, like, take a new position, take a new job and be optimistic. If it's a home you were trying to renovate, leave that one and try again. Because I think that the energy that you've put into whatever this is was great energy, but it just wasn't appreciated or it didn't work where it was. That doesn't mean it's not going to work somewhere else. And so what you're meant to move toward instead is away from this specific example and toward a new opportunity in the same vein, a new job, a new relationship, a new home, whatever it is. You are meant to try again somewhere else in a place that feels, and I kind of feel like too, maybe you've always known that whatever this is wasn't quite right for you, but you thought you could make it through. You thought you could fix it, whatever. But the truth is, I think that you always kind of knew. And so now it's time to move toward an opportunity that has a fresh new beginning and that feels like fresh life, and that the energy feels more open and right and like loving and good. Like somehow there is another opportunity that is like what this was, but better and more meant for you. And if you can go in with an open mind and allow yourself to have like an innocence with it, you might find that it turns out the way you always wanted this other thing to turn out. And so what you're meant to move toward is just a totally different thing that is like the same thing. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that? And, this isn't exactly movement toward as much as it is movement away. So like a death to the devil. Okay. And I like the devil card, but in this case, it does feel like you've been trapped by whatever this is, whatever it is for you. I don't know what it is for you, but you've been trapped by it for far too long. And like, the devil card a lot of times is a lot like the Lovers. We've got this being with wings right here and these two people that are like nude and vulnerable, but like the devil is this like opposite version where it's like, it does feel sometimes like it can be like you've made a long-term commitment to something that didn't quite work out. It wasn't what you expected it to be. It's making me think about like you thought it was going to be the Lovers, but it turned out to be the devil, and it's trapped you. And yet you always, with the devil, have the opportunity to get up and walk away. You always have the opportunity to leave it behind and to allow transformation to happen and to choose something else. And the 13 with the death card here in numerology would reduce to 4, and 4 would be stability. And so I think in your search for stability and in your search for harmony, because this is 15 and that would reduce to 6, which is a harmonious number, in your search for these things, it's time to release where you thought you were going to find them and be open to beginning again, being a beginner. And like, even though you've put so much energy into something, all I can say is it's time to release it, to let it go, to see it for what it is, to accept it for what it is, and to realize that change for you is going to be in something new and a little bit different, and like opening yourself up to something that is going to possibly be very freeing for you. And so I want to draw 1 or 2 more cards for you just on if you are able to release this and move on, what that's going to look like for you. The Ace of Pentacles, the 8 of Cups, and the 10 of Pentacles. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. So, if you are able to release, if you are able to let go, if you're able to move towards something else, to even release the rumination and the overthinking and the indecisiveness, you will have new opportunities, fresh energy, and like fulfillment and success and everything you wanted. So this is, I think, just again, reiterating that you have to make the choice, that you're going to still be stuck in this situation or the overthinking or all of this if you don't make the conscious choice to walk away from it and know that it's not good for you anymore, and that what you really want is the 10 of Pentacles. You want support, security, love, community, everything working out for you, fulfillment. You want this. And so you've got to, again, make the choice that you are going to move toward this and realize that you are not going to find what you want in what has existed. So it's just another reminder that this is up to you to a degree. But also, if you do it, and I think you are on your way, this is saying that you are starting to turn around, you're going to experience stability, security, your projects working out, having approval and validation and like accolades and people like congratulating you and seeing you for who you really are. It's like all the things you wanted in whatever this was, you will get if you walk away from it, and that new opportunities are fresh and waiting for you, and that positive change is in the cards for you. And that it's going to feel a lot more grounding, and you will just find naturally that when you get to this place, you will be less in your head because you don't have anything to be as in your head about. And like, you might always have some of that because like, if you're prone to overthinking, you're probably always going to overthink a little bit, right? But there is happiness on the other side for you, but you've got to make the choice. It's got to be up to you and nobody else, you know? Okay, group 3, I think that's all I've got for you. I'm glad I got to spend this time with you. And I guess that's it. So please let me know if it resonated. I'll see you again soon. Bye.